Let's turn now to Washington today, where U.S. lawmakers are set to vote on a war powers resolution. This as the conflict in the Middle East continues to escalate. I want to bring in CTV News, U.S. political analyst Eric Ham. Eric, good morning to you. So let's begin with this vote. It's going to be in the Senate. What would the war powers resolution do, and are there enough votes on both sides to essentially limit Trump's powers here?
Well, the vote would actually rein in Donald Trump's ability to continue to engage in war in Iran if, in fact, it's passed. We know that right now it simply does not have the votes. The only Republican as of this moment that is on record of supporting this resolution is one of the co-sponsors himself, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. So right now, we simply don't know where this vote is going to lie. Of course, Republicans, Senator of Maine, Susan Collins, and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska have not stated their intentions on how they plan to vote. We know that at least two senators who voted to actually allow the war powers resolution to advance to the floor, Senators Hawley and Todd Young, have stated that they do not intend to support the resolution. They believe that President Donald Trump has been in compliance, has actually provided more content to members of Congress in the last 48 hours, and therefore there's no need to actually try to rein the president in. We also know that there is going to be a vote on this resolution in the House that would take place later this week. Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says that he hopes to see a strong showing from Democrats, and Speaker Johnson has said that he hopes that all Republicans will get behind an effort to defeat this resolution. But even if it does pass, Marcia, it does not appear that it will have the veto-proof numbers to actually stop Donald Trump from simply vetoing the legislation.
And if you heard the briefing from War Secretary Pete Hegseth earlier today, they are moving full steam ahead. He outlined the operational successes of the mission so far. He also said that in terms of a strategic outlook, there was no nation building. He said that they are laser focused on dismantling Iran's nuclear and military capabilities. This, as the price of oil goes up, we've seen the president's approval numbers dropping. How long do you think this war will go on before it really starts to hurt Trump, or has it already?
Well, I think we're going to see also later this week, there are going to be a number of key developments that I think are also going to shape what we see in terms of not only this legislation, but how Congress will respond going forward. We know that there's expected to be a $50 billion supplemental brought to Congress to pass to provide more additional funding to the Pentagon to continue this war. Now, we know that the issue of the War Powers Act is something that likely will not succeed. However, I think even more so, it's going to be a very difficult vote, even for Republicans, to actually approve additional funding so early in this conflict to the Pentagon. We also know that the president is calling an emergency meeting of defense contractors, including Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and others, trying to expand and aggressively push production of more of those interceptors. Already, the U.S. military has basically extended many of those interceptors, trying to ward off many of those ballistic missiles from Iran. And so what we're seeing here right now is this is going to become increasingly uncomfortable both for defense contractors and for members of Congress. And I think the American people are also looking at that. And already only 27% approve of these strikes. I think that number could get lower as the days go by.
Lastly this morning, I want to play a moment for you from yesterday when Donald Trump was sitting there with the German chancellor, and he called out Spain and the UK, specifically Keir Starmer, who he's had a good relationship with. So let's listen to that sound. We'll come back on the other side.
It's taken 3-4 days for us to work out where we can land there. It would have been much more convenient landing there as opposed to flying many extra hours. So we are very surprised. This is not Winston Churchill that we're dealing with.
So, Eric, that was in direct reference to Starmer. That was a real shot across the bow. What do you make of Trump going after his allies at this moment in the conflict?
Look, the president has basically built up walls and been very icy and frosty towards many of the U.S. allies, including Canada. And of course, that comment yesterday certainly was, I think, striking, given the fact that we know that the U.K. has been supportive, at least in deed, not necessarily in action. And even we know Prime Minister Carney's latest comment saying that they support this with regret. And I think what we're seeing here from all of the U.S. allies is this perhaps is a bridge too far, and that while many believe that Iran is a perennial bad actor, the idea of a war of choice, I think, is certainly a bridge too far for many. And I think we're going to see the president continue to lash out at U.S. allies, because I think the support that he is certainly going to desperately need simply isn't going to be there as this war becomes more prolonged and more active.
Mr. Eric Ham, thank you so much. Good to talk to you this morning.